So we request you, sir, to kindly felicitate Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, who has brought us so much pride as an Indian for the giant leap of science and technology. A big applause. I request from the audience. And also, so grateful to Group Captain Shukla for making time to be here at ICMR. It is indeed inspirational for the entire youth in the country. Thank you so much. Sorry, but
Good afternoon, all again. So we are gathered, as we are already know, we are gathered here to celebrate a historical moment of India Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla's success story as a part of Axiom for mission to the International Space Station. This remarkable feat comes more than 4 decade after Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma ji became first Indian in space in 1984, and it marks India's proud return to human spaceflight. It is not just an achievement of a one mission, but a symbol of our nation's growing leadership in science, technology, and innovation, inspiring generation to dream bigger and aim higher. At ICMR, we take pride to contributing through the research that advance health, nutrition, and biomedical science, effort that not only strengthen the public health on Earth, but also support the well-being of astronauts in space. So now I request Dr. Kamini Walia to welcome all our dignitaries sitting on the desk.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dignitaries on the dais, Surgeon Vice Admiral Anupam Kapur, Nausena Medal, Director General Health Services, Indian Navy, Air Vice Marshal Anupam Agarwal, Vishisht Seva Medal, Assistant Chief of Air Staff, Indian Air Force, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, and Shri Anurag Sinha, Group Director, Human Space Flight Program, ISRO. We extend a warm welcome to all of you to Indian Council of Medical Studies. This indeed is a momentous occasion for us at ICMR to host you today. And as we reflect on India's space journey, it indeed is truly an inspiring story and a vision of resilience and innovation. ISRO, as we understand, born in 1969 under the leadership of pioneers like Dr. Vikram Sarabhai and Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who understood that space exploration was not just about prestige, but about transforming the lives of ordinary Indians through better communication, better forecasting, agriculture, education, and disaster management. In 1980, India launched its first satellite Rohini on SLV 3 after having the leaps like Chandrayaan-1, Mangalyaan. We stand on the threshold of yet another important program, which is Gaganyaan, India's first human spaceflight mission. As discussed earlier, Operation Gaganyaan is India's first human spaceflight mission, a dream that will soon become reality. It is indeed very special and is designed and developed in India, from crew module to the life support systems and the human-rated launch vehicle. With this mission, India will join a very select group of nations, Russia, the United States, and China, that have independently sent humans to space. So very soon, Indian astronauts will fly into orbit on an Indian rocket from Indian soil, carrying with them the tricolor and the hopes of 1.4 billion people. Beyond that lies our next destination, the Indian Space Station, by 2035, and a human mission to Moon by 2040. So a small beginning, as we all learned, has been made by Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, one of the 4 astronauts selected for Gaganyaan mission, who flew to the International Space Station as the mission pilot for Axiom Mission 4. He spent 18 days conducting experiments, outreach and adapting to gravity. So it is not just a matter of national pride, but a giant leap for science and technology. The program strengthens our expertise in aerospace medicine, robotics, and re-entry systems as it lays the foundation for India's future space ambitions, from dedicated space station by 2025 to human missions to moon. Above all, I think Gaganyaan is about inspiration. It shows every young Indian that sky is no longer the limit. Whenever astronauts fly on Indian rocket from Indian soil carrying the tricolor into the space, it will be the moment of history that belongs to each one of us. So thank you once again to everybody, each one of you who has made time to be here at ICMR, and we look forward to sharing more experiences and hearing more from you during the next few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for these words. So now the key moment, I request Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla to come and share his experience. Then we will have the question answer sessions, because our curious mind have lots of questions which we want to ask. First, you can share what you want to share, then we will ask what we want to ask. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Anupam sir, I can say it in one word because Anupam Square is sitting next to me. Papa sir, Angad sir, Rachana ji, all the members from IEM plus DRDO, and all the people here at ICMR. Thank you so much. Very good afternoon. It is post lunch, I understand. I will try to be as interesting as possible so that you don't sleep. But before I start, the Rajiv Bair sir was mentioning that he initiated a program of having an atrocious idea of when he will do 1 crore and then 4 and then 8. I just wanted to ask the Center of Advanced Research an outcome of that. It's an atrocious idea. My mission happened in 25. I started training for this mission last year in 2024. But the journey actually started long back in 2018, when the announcement was made by our Honorable Prime Minister from the Red Fort that very soon a son or daughter of India will fly to space. So I think the team behind the scenes started working, and there are a lot of people to be thankful for, starting from the country itself, the leadership, then ISRO for enabling this, then the IA, the team who has been working relentlessly behind the selection, training, and then execution of this mission as well. But I would restrict the scope, and it would be befitting because the members who are present here to keep the scope within this, medical and these science and experiments that I carried out. So in 2019, I remember it started that the signal was released that selections for Gaganyaan is open. And I, Max and sir and Papa sir, we were all the sufferers since 2019 at the hands of these doctors who are sitting here. And I did not say to them then, but I have mentioned in one of my speech earlier this year that we refer to them as blood-sucking vampires. Because every time you go to the Institute of Aerospace Medicine, they will be standing with a test tube in hand. They want 50 ml. They want 20 ml of blood. And this kept happening for almost 8 to 10 months. But what was interesting was that we really were starting from a clean slate. We did not have anything. We did not have any information. Only literature survey was what was available to you. And going from there to actually selecting astronauts, which were validated by a country who has been pursuing space flights for decades. I think it was a huge accomplishment. And kudos to the team who has worked relentlessly in ensuring that, and I think they deserve a round of applause for doing what they're doing. So we immediately got selected and went to Russia for a training. We trained there for about a year and a half and came back. We were all training here with ISRO, working with the Gaganyaan program and developing systems. When the announcement for Axiom 4 mission happened. And the journey past year has been incredible. The training has been fantastic. And I realized we had the training in the past 1.5 years in Russia as well. But the minute you get assigned to a mission and the training that you do, it is very different. It is not the same. Because that was training for training's sake. But this was training for actually flying to the National Space Station, and there was a significant difference in both. So we prepared all year long. We most of the training was based in the United States and NASA, SpaceX, and we also traveled to the European Space Agency in Germany as well as Japan. And all the year we were training and preparing really well. A lot of aspects in the medical aspects were very well understood. It was known because we had prepared very well. So the kind of medical training that they were giving and what the changes the body will undergo was known. And I felt quite confident, before the mission that, we are really well prepared. But the minute the ignition happens in the rocket and you launch, I think everything just goes out of the window. It is very different. It is not the same. Obviously, it helps. The training helps because you have that backing, but it is very, very different when you first time experience microgravity. When you reach there and you have had the exposure earlier, you have gone into the zero gravity flights and experienced how it would feel like. But these are, 30-35 seconds exposure, very short. So your body really doesn't get used to it of how it would feel like. But when you go there the first time, at first it is fantastic. You are floating and you are, going around and you're enjoying the space. And my commander, I remember Dr. Peggy Whitson, she was in season flyer. She was going there for the 5th time. And I remember she kept telling us, don't move too much. He's slow. But we were excited, we were going left, right, and going to the window, coming back all the time. 15 minutes, all of us were sitting like this. Our head in our hands. It changes the things that the body has to adjust to, it starts showing in some time. And as long as you are in the capsule, which is a smaller space, it is still better. You don't feel as bad. But once you enter the International Space Station, it's a much bigger volume and much more space to move around. That is the time it really hits you. So a lot of changes happen. We had read that the fluid shifts your head, but how it would feel like that when you experience, you realize how it would be like. My head was almost twice this size. And today morning, I was talking about this. The day we had the interaction with our Honorable Prime Minister, it was the second day. And just before the interaction, I was not feeling well at all. Like I was just sitting with my head in my hand and saying, I don't think I can do this. And then obviously it is planned and you have to do it. But these are changes that your body goes through very quickly. The fluid shifts, the head becomes bigger. Your heart slows down because it doesn't have to work against gravity. You have backaches because your spine elongates. It is in the night, especially. And somehow, for me, every night it used to get 3 o'clock. I don't know why there was a attachment of time to it, but for 2-3 nights in a row, 3 o'clock in the night was the time when I would get a severe backache. You are floating in microgravity, but everything inside your stomach is also floating. So you don't feel hungry. Like I was not hungry at all for the first 2-3 days. I had to force feed myself as far as food is concerned. So, but the interesting part is that within 3 to 4 days, your body gets used to this. It becomes your new normal. Like microgravity becomes an environment in which you are living now. And thereafter, space becomes fun. I remember that after the 4th day was the time when we really enjoyed being in space and looking up. These are of course the physiological changes that I'm talking about. And then there are other things that are the experiments that were prepared by the researchers enabled by ISRO, which we conducted in space. I think that was an incredible achievement, not just because of what we did, but because what we did opened the doors for microgravity research for us. Now everybody knows what needs to be done to conduct the research in microgravity. I think that was the biggest win of it. And the third aspect of this, the space mission, was the view of looking back at Earth. And I remember I was sleeping in that crew rack in the vehicle which we went. And I was the only one who had the luxury of having windows. because all the other two quarters, they do not have windows on the US side. But we were so busy and not feeling well in the initial days. And I remember on the fourth day, my crewmate, the Hungarian astronaut, he came into the Dragon and we were just talking, we had some free time. And he pulled the covers out of the window and he said, hey, wow, this is a great view. And I go up and I say, yes, this is a great view. I should have looked out the window because I had not looked out the window for the past 4 days. And this is how you just gradually step up to the new normal that the body has to work with. I had a great time on the station doing the experiments that I was doing, interacting with kids, interacting with dignitaries, and conducting STEM. And STEM was really fun as well, playing with water. And Sinali is here, I would just comment on this. There were some experiments or some STEM demonstrations that were planned, which theoretically possible, but extremely challenging. So I had a STEM demo which involved creating a bubble of water, then using a syringe to create a bubble of air inside that bubble of water, and then using another syringe to create a bubble of coffee inside the air, bubble of air inside the water. And I think the entire, contingent which was there on the International Space Station, all 11 of us, the Russian cosmonauts, the US astronauts, and the 4 of us, everybody tried. And we got a little bit, I think a few seconds of it. So these were the interesting parts when you were on station, doing things and understanding of why it is so challenging. It was really interesting. Now, when you get used to this environment for 20 days and you come back to gravity during the re-entry, the biggest difference for me when I felt was how smooth it was. The plasma, I had imagined it to be really violent. So we were looking out the window, we could see the fire, we could see the flames, orange, blue, green, all shades. But it was really smooth, the gradual build-up of G loads. It was very smooth. And you have to strain your neck to look out the window when you are sitting in the chair. So you had to raise your neck. And I remember feeling very heavy on my neck and saying, we must be at the top already, 3 to 3.5 G. Already must be, display must be showing. And at this time, when I looked at the display, it was reading 0.3 G. And that is when I understood how quickly your body adapts to something very different. And even 0.3, 0.4 G felt really heavy. When you open your eyes, when you come back into gravity, your eyelids, they feel heavy. And so we splashed down, it was the violent part of the re-entry started once we were out of the, plasma. So when the parachutes are deployed and all these activities. And when we splashed down in the water, it was, I was feeling quite okay, not really bad. And when they lifted us on the ship and started recovering us, I saw my commander Peggy going out, and she was perfectly all right going up. Like going to the International Space Station, it was like a home for her. She did not feel anything. But coming back is worse for some people. So it depends on like which side will you feel bad. It is not standard. So I was feeling okay, and I thought that okay, they will lift me up and I will walk. And they lifted me up. I took my first step, and I was falling down, and they had to hold me. And then the second step, again I was falling down, and this is so strange. It is not that you don't have the strength or the sense that you need to walk, but your mind has forgotten of what it takes to walk again. How much strength will it take? How much muscles you have to contract or expand? It has forgotten that. And that was again very fascinating. So they have to hold you, they will get you on your, the medical bed that we had. And once there, I was sitting down and I asked for somebody for his phone because I wanted to take a selfie. Because I was eating chips, which I wanted to eat, really salty. And I asked him this same phone, I asked him, and he kept it on my hand, and my hand went like this, down. And I generally asked him, what do you keep inside this? And he kept his hand on my shoulder and said, hey, buddy, you'll take some time. You come back from space. So the drastic difference in the accommodation of what the body understands, and it is not just your mind or your heart, it's every part. Every part has to understand that this is a new environment. That same night, I remember when we went to space first time, physiological change is one part, but the new environment, getting used to the new environment is another part. So the interesting thing was when we went to space first time, I found it hard to let go of things, right? If this is a phone that I'm holding and somebody standing next to me, I would say, can you hold this for me? And since they were also traveling for the first time, they would hold it. and they would stand. But it doesn't matter because if you leave it, it will stay here because you are all falling at the same time. There is nothing relative, right? So this, I would say, the shift happened after about 8 to 10 days that you would let go of this phone, leave it here, and do your work, finish it off, pick it up again, and then go. So this shift happened about 8 to 10 days. But when it happened, it was amazing. Like you could just leave stuff or 5 things around you and just do your work and then take it back and go. The problem is, like I said, when you come back. So I was sitting on my bed the day I came back that same evening, working on my laptop, and I closed the lid and I kept it to the side and I left it. And almost as soon as I left it, I realized this is an ISRO laptop. Thankfully, there was carpet and everything. Nothing happened to it. But again, what my point is that the switch is very powerful. It changes everything of how you perceive things around you, how you perceive space. It is fascinating. I think human body itself is really fascinating. So this happened, and I came back, and then it takes about 7 to 8 days and 10 days, to get back and understand again living back in gravity how it feels. So I see my experience, what I've gained, not just in the past 1 year going to space, but since the time we started in 2019. I see that as extremely critical for where we want to go in future. Like what was being mentioned that we have Gaganyaan mission, we have Bharatiya Felicitation, and then we have the Indian footprint on moon by 2040. And these things would require a lot of knowledge base and a lot of research to be conducted. We don't have it. We have to build from scratch, which we have started in 2019. So I think each of these experiences are extremely crucial and critical for us. And we need to do more and more of it in all aspects. Like doing a mission is one part of it, but any kind of research or any kind of work towards this direction, I think is going to prove extremely helpful for us. What we are trying to do in these limited years, this data is available with the countries who have been doing human space missions in the 1960s. We don't have it. We are building from scratch. So I think it is extremely important the contribution of each and every one of you when we want to go to places that we have decided. I think each and every one of you will matter, and in whatever work you do, in whatever capacity. So what it takes to go where we are going. I think space is inherently a discipline which touches upon everything else. When you pursue space exploration, especially human space exploration, it is not just about space exploration, or it is not only the responsibility of ISRO to do. It requires doctors, it requires engineers, it requires scientists, educationers, design artists. Every discipline is affected by it. So I think it would need national commitment to do what we want to do. And the best part is that I see so much of excitement after coming back. Everywhere I go, people are so excited about this. They want to be a part of this. And I think that gives me a lot of confidence and hope that, wherever we are planning to go, and everybody wants to go there together. So I think all of us have to come together to make an Indian land on moon by 2040. With this, I will end because I know you said you have a lot of questions. So I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it was a very interesting narration of your experience. And you almost brought Hollywood movie to this room. We have seen most of the space experiences that we have learned. We have seen in those Hollywood movies or we read those books. I remember seeing Gravity and then Interstellar. So I have a question for you. You must have watched all these movies as well. So was it similar to what you saw in those movies, or was it very different when you reached up there? And did it, when you caught off guard in some place, oh, this is something I was not prepared for?
Start with, I don't think I look as handsome as Matthew McNoy. But your question, I think I was caught off guard for sure, because you have an image of how it would feel like in your mind, and it is very different. It is not the same. Right from the minute, like I said, when the ignition happened, when the engines ignited, it was something else. It was totally different. It was much more powerful than what I had imagined. much more quick, very quick. From the outside, when you look at a rocket launch, it's a huge rocket and it seems slow, but things are happening really fast inside, very, very quickly. And from there till the time you get to space, everything is new. It's different in a way that is difficult to communicate. Because I can tell you how it felt the words, but you would imagine it in your mind based on what your experience has been. But yes, 3 or 4 days you become used to that and you understand how it feels. But definitely nothing like gravity or industrial, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure one of the recommendations when you came back, you must have given would be that all interactions with Prime Minister, country, etc. For
Absolutely.
So we also talk of many meditative practices which actually help us get through these kind of, I wouldn't say difficult situations, but these are situations which are not normal, which are a little away from normal. Did you at any point refer to those practices or those what we are which is like very traditional to Indian culture? To kind of at any moment of when you were having some anxiety, did you really fall back on these things for solace or to calm yourself down?
I understand the importance and how these things help us. On ground, I try to do meditation. I try, but I'm not really good at it. It's very difficult to sit, without thinking something. But this was really beautiful in space. If you are sitting by a window and looking back at Earth, you are meditating. Nothing comes to your mind. And I remember sitting for hours, especially right back home. It was a 28-hour phasing that we had. So we had to sit in the capsule, nothing to do because you're coming back home. And you can just sit, look at the window outside, nothing comes to your mind. And you can sit for hours. Like I think that was the best form of meditation.
Yeah, talking about the window, I think I must have been 13 years old when Rakesh Sharma was in space. And I remember our Prime Minister Indira Gandhi asking him, "Upar se Bharat kaisa lagta hai?" I still get goosebumps when I talk about it. And he said, "Sare jahan se acha." So, any such moment that you experienced, we would all love to hear about.
I think I experienced I don't know what was his motivation to say when he said this, that India looks at it, I don't know. But my moment was like I said, when you go, your body is dealing with a lot of challenges. But your science, your work doesn't stop because you're there for 2 weeks, initially 2 weeks. We ended up staying 18. And your samples have to be preserved, your science has to be done. So we used to have 12 to 13 hour work day, you taking 3 to 4 days. And 12 to 13 because you are also new, you are learning and you are slow in doing things. It was like I remember I was speaking to my wife on phone one of the days and I said, it feels like I've shifted from one office to another office. So it was challenging and there was no intent or time to understand, to look out the window and just appreciate what space is. It was not there. And I was working on one of the experiments one day and in NASA astronaut, Nicole, she came up to me and she said, hey, it looks like we are going to pass over India. Would you want to have a look? And I said, yes, I would, of course, that. So somebody reminded me that this was going to happen. It was a night pass. And I left what I was doing, went away for 5 minutes. She had set up everything, a camera at the window. And I just looked outside. And, this even makes me emotional now when I talk about it. I think it is the most beautiful sight that you can ever see in your life. It is not exaggeration. It is such a beautiful sight. You were coming from south, you have the Indian Ocean, the Bay of Bengal, so everything is dark. And in the night, if you're coming over India, it is that triangular shape all lit up. It is, yeah, I still remember the most beautiful thing that I saw from space was India.
At this point, we would also like to have comments from the designated astronauts. First, I would invite Angad to kindly share, after hearing his experiences, what do you feel and what are you anticipating as you prepare for your journey?
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. First of all, I would like to thank everyone present here. from ICMR who's invited us for this function and the felicitation program. Without doubt, today is a day that we are celebrating the success of Shubhanshu, who's represented each one of us. It doesn't really matter, that is probably my personal understanding, that whether I have gone or Shubhanshu has gone or a doctor has gone or a pilot or an engineer or a researcher. At the end of the day, what all of us should feel proud, first of all, is that an Indian has gone and he has seen the earth from the perspective of an Indian. And I feel in his entire narrative, that is one thing which is really coming out. And all of us, our heart beats for India as much as his does. So first of all, thank you to Shubhanshu for sharing such a nice experience. And yes, while when you know that you are also in the probability of going up to space, so you hear him, you also are kind of anticipating, you're thinking and all those things. But what I feel is that every astronaut, whether astronaut who has already been to space or an astronaut designate, has his own journey. So I would just like to say that I'm waiting for mine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very candid. Okay, I go to now Group Captain Nair. So, hearing these experiences, does it give you butterflies or how do you feel about it?
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you to everybody on stage out here. And thanks, Shooks, Angad, and the entire doctor team also. Thank you, sir. So what like Shooks told that our journey started many years back in 2018-19. And a lot of blood has gone out of this body. Okay, I show my photograph to most of them. I was 91 kilos, now I'm 61. Yeah, so I've donated a lot of blood to the country already. And here also. And the one secret that many people don't know, I told him when he was in space also, you did here, right? So I'm the tallest, so they want somebody who's spine to get along it so they become taller. It's a great journey in this entire thing. We have been gone through a lot of stuff, whether it was in the US, whether it's in Russia. And one thing which we three, there's one more person, four of us understood is that we are the tip of the iceberg which is visible outside. There's a whole 9/10, including all of you and all these other people, unsung heroes. And I think most of the time we have the glam role also, right? Where the cool jackets and the look handsome for the photographs. Yeah, but we got a lot of teeth pulled out and a lot of other stuff. So that's a painful thing, as part of the medical. They all are responsible, including our psycho out here. So it is, it's without the contribution of everyone out here in this room, especially because, like was born in the beginning by the DG also. There's been a lot of investment of the country into this, especially from the medical stream. Okay, and for us, the four of us are really being from the Air Force and still with the Air Force, but debuted to ISRO. ISRO has been kind enough to give a lot of training and adopters, and now their country. So sometimes, most of the time when the four of us sit and talk and all that, we do sometimes want to pinch and to see whether it's actually real. So I would like all of you to thank yourself as representatives of this great country for, having us go to space for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. So when I was talking to Dr. Sowgandhi, she was appreciating that all these designate astronauts, including yourself, there's one thing which is common, that is the positive mindset. But I think one more thing is in common. You all have very good humor. That is something we should appreciate. And now I go to the third designate astronaut.
Before you go, you won't survive IAM and Sowgandhi map without a good humor.
Of course. So now I go to Mohan side. So you are the most recent inclusion, I think, in this category. And we would like to hear from you what goes on with you when you hear all these experiences.
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you so much for having me. It feels so good just to be here in this room and listen from every corner of this room. All I can say is I feel so safe as an Indian young citizen in terms of scientific research, back to human space exploration, starting from Rakesh Sharma sir, and then now looking and learning from four of them, and then thinking of our plans because all the human spaceflight program goals are aligned with with most of our lifetimes, which we can think of going, not just going, doing, staying there. So that way, I feel as a citizen of this country, I feel very safe, both scientifically and yeah, the kind of R&D we have. So that's all I want to say. Thank you so much.
So much. So, I just have one question for you, one last question for you. It is not related to anything, it is related to the material world that we live here. So what is next coming for you? Is it a book where you write a memoir or is it going to be a Bollywood movie?
His medicals are playing.
What did she say?
His medicals.
So after that, ma'am. So we will have your response, please.
No, I've understood, I did not really understand, when I came back, from the mission and I was in US. Of course, when we launched, there was a lot of excitement in the country, but I was totally cut off. We didn't know when we were on the station. And when we came back, we were in the United States, so we could see on the social media and on the news what is being covered, lots of excitement was there. But the true sense of how it is, I really understood when I landed back here in Delhi. And whatever was left, I understood when I went back to Lucknow, my hometown. And so to your question, I don't know right now, like it has been really busy since the time I've come back. But I understand that it is important. Important to share this story in whatever form, in whichever way. I don't know the answer to that. But I will strive to share this story as much as possible because I think that it gives hope to a lot of people who see someone like them traveling to space and believe that we can do it, I can do it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. It was a very interesting conversation and thank you for sharing all that with us. Okay, now I hand over to my colleague, Dr. Sumit Agarwal, who has actually been the brain behind this entire event. It is just that I have hijacked a lot of screen time from.
Thank you, ma'am, for always your kind support. So many questions I am receiving on mobile. So one very key question I am receiving. What was most difficult, handling your computer and controls or your toothbrush?
Most difficult and challenging part was to go to the washroom. You are holding many things at a time.
And we heard you also took Angad your journey, and we were lucky that your ma'am we also tasted. It was really nice. Now, next time, what you will suggest one should carry? Golgappa, vada pav, what anything else?
I've actually done a video from ISS. Our food is great. I think there is no, contention there. Everybody in the world acknowledges it. There. So I was not only able to take amras. I could take gajar ka halwa, moong dal ka halwa, and amras, 3 amras. We could get it clear to the NASA certification process. And but if you ask me one thing, I've done a video from station as well, wherein I've said that there are a lot of teas, green tea, black tea, chamomile tea, and raspberry tea, all kind of teas are there. But there is no masala tea, chai. So that is what I've done, and I would like to see that flying up on station sometime.
Thank you. So we'll request Sowgandhi ma'am, please. Next time. So thank you all, like Group Captain Shukla, Group Captain Dr. Angad, and Group Captain. So now we are coming like the last part of it. So I request now from our colleague senior from ISRO, Shri Anurag Sinhaji, who is Group Director for this Human Space Flight Program. So I request sir to please share your like what was your experience, how you have reached to this thing, and what you think, what the future of.
Afternoon, everyone. And today you see that in this room we have doctors, we have fighter pilots, and we have engineers, also in one roof. But when the idea of human spaceflight was being discussed in ISRO, you have to understand that for the last 6 decades, ISRO has been a very flight hardware focused organization. And I would say that there was a lack of awareness, even in senior management, on how to deal with astronaut or say a human in space mission. And everybody thought that, and I'm sure all the astronauts have heard it, that astronaut is just a payload in this mission. And at that point of time, I had read about an ISS experiment. I'm sure some of you also would have read about that. It's a very famous experiment called Stop Killing Train Experiment. In that, two twin brothers were selected. One was sent to ISS for 1 year, and one was under similar conditions where he was on Earth. And at the end of the mission, a very comprehensive report was published. Of course, all of that report, couldn't have been understood by the senior management. But I was going around with that report, and I was basically highlighting 5 or 6, points that even when an astronaut comes back from space, with time he regains almost all the functions which were there pre-flight. But still, there are some permanent changes which happens. For example, thickening of carotid artery, the shortening of telomeres, and stuff like that. And in ISRO, when I was trying to put this argument together, the very fundamental questions were being asked. Nobody was knowing what is a carotid artery. Nobody had heard about telomeres. So slowly, this people realized that this is one mission which ISRO cannot execute on its own. We do not have that kind of bandwidth, both in terms of expertise or in terms of manpower. And we also realized that maybe 1 or 2 other stakeholders also not able to do this job. So if you see, unlike any other project of ISRO, Gaganyaan is truly a national project. With ISRO is private, but all the premier academic and R&D institutes are state bodies. So that is how this whole program has been conceived. I'm very happy that if the high visibility of space program can drive some fundamental research in other disciplines. But it benefits us all. So we see it that way. And even if you look at so I to mention many challenges personal challenges, physical challenges, spending time with ISS. But our goal is to go further, go on moon, as well as one day go on land on Mars. So those environments are not yet characterized. What happens to human body when you spend a very long time on moon, or what happens to human body when you spend time on Mars? So a lot of things research perhaps in still has to be understood. And I'm sure that with the collective effort, we'll reach there one day, and we will reach there together. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words. So now I request Sowgandhi ma'am, who is the brain behind it and they used to say psychology. So over to you, ma'am.
Captain Shubhanshu
चलानी आ रहा है तो इस स्क्रीन बंद कर देता हूँ जब आप ये चीजें ये सब माइक पे चला माइक नहीं रखे अगर माइक नहीं चला माइक स्टॉप है
So my side button. Sinha from ISRO, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, Group Captain Nair, Group Captain Angad Pratap, Group Captain Biswan, Group Captain Stuti Mishra, Wing Commander Palash, Wing Commander, Squadron Gaurav, Mohan, and the entire team at ICMR, Dr. Kamli Valia and Dr. Sumita Agarwal, a very warm good afternoon. We are here, the entire ground support medical team, which has conducted the entire journey with the astronaut designates from ISRO. So for us, it's a very, very historic moment as well. None of us met like this after our Shuks has come back. So thank you so much, ICMR, for making it true for us as well. And when his rocket took off, we all had that separation anxiety, along with his parents, along with his wife, Kamna ma'am. Next time we'll definitely try to get ma'am here. The quarantine that he had, which was prolonging, extending, we didn't know when it will take off. And our doctor was with him, Group Captain Viswal, who was with us here throughout his stay in the quarantine and the fag end of his training. We all had that separation anxiety, like, okay, he's going, our Shuks is going. Angad sir had, Nair sir had, seeing him. And when he came back, now we are slowly weaning him out. It's a very conflicting thing for us as well. And as a psychologist, it's important for me to see that he has a positive mental state, salitogenesis, that's what we call in psychology, like in gravity when Sandra Bullock puts her, feet on the beach. So that's the feeling of positivity. And he never needed me for that. He was always there. His family was huge pillar of support to me. And I thought he would be fatigued. I thought he would be too much excited. But the way he's balancing his work-life balance, his family, his thought processes, the way he's handling people, his overwhelming work, it's amazing. It's amazing to see how they're doing and the way they evolve from what they are as a test pilots, the grit, that resilience which is put to tough test, being first time. And let me tell you, test pilots hate anything uncertain, anything ambiguous, pilots hate it. They want everything black and white, manuals, written formats. And here we are telling them go to space first time, we know nothing, just go come back. It's difficult. It's really difficult to maintain that curiosity to learn, to understand complex things. And for long years, not a specific time, it's like long years that we have to undergo this grind, and they all sustained it remarkably well. And that way, ISRO has been very supportive. Whatever they wanted, we wanted, they were always with us. And the medical team has always geared up to their challenges that they pose to us. Sometimes we pose to them, sometimes they pose to us. So it was all like that. But yes, this project as a principal investigator to establish Center for Advanced Research in Space Psychology. I think this wouldn't have seen the light of the day without ICMR support. We just toyed it as a small idea and then it became a huge concept and a big project. It turned out to be. And this wouldn't have been possible without the vision of the senior scientists at ICMR. So I thank you all for that and I thank you all for having us here. And it did start as an atrocious idea, as PG said, or Rupi Shukla has mentioned. So will I get the extra money? I didn't Shukla responsible for my money now. So I've not just produced one atrocious, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 atrocious. Ensure I get my money gross of whatever was said. But to sum it up, what started as atrocious, Shuks made it admirable. That's nothing else. Thank you all for this opportunity.
Thank you, Sowgandhi ma'am. So it's always been fun with you. So it's been like 2 years when we started this journey, started in 2023. And one person which we are missing here, Anupam Agarwal sir, who is always support to us, who is always guiding us unconditionally, supporting us in all the requirements in terms of technical and documentation. And sir is also retiring this month, so this will be a very, we hope he will be supporting us, keep supporting us in this initiative. So I request sir to please say a few words.
At the outset, I think, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this opportunity. At the outset, I think the most overwhelming thing is that something that we worked for the past 8 years saw fruition before I retired. And Shooks has gone and come back from space before I retire. I don't think we expected it till about 2 years ago, but it happened, and that brings a great amount of satisfaction to all of us who've been in this team. But this is not about me, this is about the man of the day. And it's not easy to speak after all the stars have spoken. And after one has been, what do you call it, designated as a blood-sucking vampire. I just thought that since I have this opportunity, I would give to you a little insight into what makes an astronaut. Inherently, I mean, as you enter, when Shooks was speaking, mobile phones were all out, videos were being taken, or when you shake his hands, you have an inherent feeling that you're sort of meeting an important man. But perhaps one still doesn't understand what an astronaut is. So, well, before we got into this business, the biggest bang that I'd heard was gunfire. If you think of the propellant that is inside a bullet, and you take it as maybe 1 or 2 drops of propellant, what we strapped onto his back and went to space was about a swimming pool of propellant. And there were people telling him, kuch nahi hoga, chale jo. And the others who were sitting here were equally keen to go. It is one thing to say that, okay, it's a part of the job, so maybe like I just have to do it. And it's quite another when you are a set of people who actually fight to do it. To strap one swimming pool of propellant behind you and say, okay, light the fire. So that takes a different sort of person. Now, when you think of such a person, and don't let your head swell too much. If it does, we'll withdraw the blood and it'll become okay. When you take such a person, you think of the Burning Man or something, no? He used to sort of wrap stuff around it, light himself on fire and jump from a little tower or something like that, and you picture that. You never expect that guy to be a very sort of brainy chap. And then you realize that this guy is not only willing to strap that propellant and fly, he also, not he, they, him, all of them, are also in the top 97, 98 percentile as far as intelligence is concerned. They are also in the top 98, 99 percentile as far as mathematical ability is concerned. They are also in the top 98, 99 percentile as far as grit, resilience, and the works is concerned. And then you start looking at whether it's really possible to have a man like that. And that is the icing on the cake. And then you realize that if this is the creme de la creme, the cream of the cream of 1/6 of the world's population, then they are the top 24 in the world. Many who gone before them, many who are waiting to go, may not be as good as these four. And then you realize how lucky we have been to have been associated with them. And now that their heads are all swollen up and happy, let's talk about the doctors who did this. Because whether you like it or not, whether you call them blood-sucking vampires or not, almost everybody around here is a doctor. So let's look at the doctors who do it. I'm sure that as the Indian Council for Medical Research, one of the biggest challenge that all of you face is that it is difficult to translate what is researched in the lab to give a tangible, plausible, workable solution in the field. To make it from the lab to reality is a tough thing. And in 99.9% cases, you know it doesn't happen. And that is something that any research organization struggles with. You do basic research, it doesn't hit applied research. You do applied research, it doesn't hit the field. This is a group of people sitting here right in front of you who did the basic research. Like, okay, since we've all spoken of grit and resilience, so do you need grit? Do you need resilience? Do you need something like that? That research? Then they did another bit of research which determined how do you find out whether a person is gritty or not. So they did that bit of research. Then they did the applied bit of research saying that, okay, so this is the way we find it out. How do we build the tests? How do we administer the tests? How do we give the tests? And from there, they went and did the selection. There are a huge number of people, selected some people. And then that was validated by Roscosmos, that was validated by Axiom, that was validated by NASA, and that was found to be true. So I think as doctors, I think we should all be very proud of these people sitting here. If they are leeches, they are intelligent leeches. It is the same not only for something like grit and resilience, it is the same when you try, and all of you would realize the difficulty in this, to predict the difficulty in predicting whether a person is likely to have, let's say, a heart ailment, not today, not tomorrow, but 20 years later. Because the amount of money that is spent on each one of these very important people, you don't want it that you select him today, you train him today, and after 7 years or 10 years, he has a heart ailment and cannot make it, or he has diabetes or cannot make it, or something like that. So to predict whether or not a person will remain fit, not today, not tomorrow, but 20 years later, is a very, very tough call. And that is what goes into astronaut selection. And so, what has been done by this very small body of people is commendable. And I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate all of them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for putting the doctor's perspective also, on the behalf of the FS4.
So that was a Freudian slip, was it?
So we are reaching to the concluding of this session event. So I request DTG sir to put his final remark.
Good afternoon.
Nice to see the ISRO officials, IA officials and everybody there in the room.
सही से
Sense of humor तो बहुत ज्यादा है और ISRO में तो है ही।
सही से
ICMR का भी थोड़ा सा सेंस ऑफ ह्यूमर हम ले लेते हैं। आदरणीय सेक्रेटरी डीजी ICMR, सीनियर डीजी, एयर वाइस मार्शल डॉक्टर अनुपम, सर्जन वाइस एडमिरल अनुपम सर again, Shubhanshu Shukla ji, group captain, and Shri Angad. A warm welcome to all of you for this accepting our invitation, and on behalf of the entire ICM family and the Department of Health Research, we welcome you all, sir. शुभांशु जो नाम है संस्कृत में ये कहा जाता है शुभ, सब जानते हैं, ऑस्पिशियस, गुड और फॉर्चुनेट। अंश डेफिनेटली रे, तो शुभांशु जो है ऑस्पिशियस रे ऑफ लाइट और रेडियंट मून बताते हैं। शायद जो शुभांशु जी के पिताजी शंभू दयाल जी एंड आशा जी माता जी ने पहले से ही सोच लिया था कि उनका लड़का गगन पे तो एक दिन जाएगा ही जाएगा। तो मुझे एक्चुअली मुकेश जी का वो गाना याद आ रहा है जो समर्पित, मैं गाना बहुत गाता हूँ, वैसे थोड़ा सा माफ करिएगा देख रहा हूँ तो वो गाना याद रहा है कि जिसे मैं शुभांशु जी के माता पिता को अर्पित करना चाहता हूँ। तुझे सूरज कहूँ या चंदा, तुझे दीप कहूँ या तारा, मेरा नाम करेगा रोशन, जग में मेरा राज दुलारा। सर हमारा जो टीममेट्स जो है आपके जितने भी आए हैं, अंगद जी जो पाइपलाइन में अभी है, नायर जी और बाकी जो उठने वाले हैं, आफ्टर 41 years Shubhanshu ji has made history, ठीक है, so we are really proud of you sir। and पता है आप लोगों को कि शुभांशु जी जब गगन में थे वहां पे 7.5 किलोमीटर पर सेकेंड के रफ्तार से पृथ्वी पर घूम रहे थे। तो इस स्पीड से अगर हम घूमने लग जाएं पृथ्वी में, शायद हम लोग एडमिट हो जाएं। शुक्र है भगवान का एक साथ में ही है। तो एक और बात मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि शायद ICMR का और शुभांशु जी का एक नाता ऑलरेडी है, क्योंकि इनकी जो धर्मपत्नी जी है कामना जी, वो एक डेंटिस्ट है, तो इसलिए जो है डेंटल बैकग्राउंड तो भी हमारे साथ है, तो डेंटल रिसर्च भी आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं सर। और शुभांशु जी, आपको पता है शुभांशु जी जो है क्वालिफाइड टेस्ट पायलट की है, जिससे सुन के हम लोग डर जाते हैं। MIT मिग 21, मिग 29 सुखोई जैसे विमान को इन्होंने उड़ाया है। तो मेरा ये कहने का तात्पर्य है कि शुभांशु जी के लिए तो उड़ना और उड़ाना बाएं हाथ करके है। सर हमने भी बहुत उड़ाए सर, आप पूछेंगे क्या? पता सर। तो IAF मैंने पढ़ा था सर के बारे में, तो IAF में ज्वाइन करने की प्रेरणा इनको कारगिल वॉर से मिला था करके लिखा हुआ है। इस ट्रू सर? आपने बताया होगा सर? नहीं बताया। तो ये तो सर एक बिगनिंग है, एंड ही फ्रॉम स्पेस से उन्होंने बताया था कि he wanted all of us to be a part of this journey. Definitely sir, our chest has swelled with pride and we are proud of you sir. So चलिए आज हम भी ये शपथ लेते हैं कि हम शुभांशु जी और उनके पूरे ISRO और IAF परिवार के साथ इस मिशन में साथ देंगे। And before I conclude, I request all of my colleagues to give him the round of applause and a standing ovation. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Rajesh sir. So now we are having a final session. So from the part of ICMR, we just want to felicitate and want to give some token of appreciation and love on behalf of ICMR. So I invite Dr. Namnivalia to felicitate Air Vice Marshal Anupam. I request Meenakshi Sharma ma'am to please come. Can you felicitate Shri Anurag Sinha ji, the Director, Human Space Flight Program. So I request DD sir to felicitate Guru Captain and Thank you, Group Captain and DD sir. So I request Tamil ma'am again to please felicitate Group Captain DD Nair. I request Meenakshi ma'am to please come again and felicitate Mr. Mohan. And there's one more great thing. He has been selected as a astronaut for 2029 mission for Titan, I think. Lastly, I request Ms. Sowgandhi ma'am and her team for the Skuti, Dr. Kalas, so all please come and join Sowgandhi ma'am, and I request Tamni ma'am. That's it. Thank you, sir. So I request Tamni ma'am to be there. And above all, we are having today Surgeon Vice Admiral Dr. Anupam Kapur. On the behalf of forces, we just want to felicitate him, sir, because of this gathering. Yeah. Now I request Dr. Sarita Nair.
A very good evening to one and all. It is now good evening. Not great because I've also traveled to Spain and come back. But it's been truly an honor to be here. And not every day we sit with people who have traveled to the space or are designated to travel to space. So it's been an honor for all at ICMR. Truly honored. On behalf of DG ICMR and all from ICMR, it's my honor to propose vote of thanks to all of you. I'm not going to be taking name, but all of you from our bottom of the heart, we thank for taking out, from your busy schedule and then coming here, and particularly Captain Shukla, because you have made us all proud, and we have all traveled with you. It was a great achievement. We can still feel that goosebumps. So thank you so much for taking out this time, and we hope to contribute. We hope to contribute because I know Dr. Sumit and team has been working with Madam Dr. Sowgandhi and team and has been contributing to the mission. So we'll all be there as part of it. And let's all strive and contribute to make our nation, even more proud. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. So I request our space crew, all the members to come again to the canteen. We'll have a high tea, and also I request our organizer team, please. Thank you all for your patience and your presence. Thank you.